So we just got finished doing this Aria, A-R-I-A, guitar, dreadnought guitar. It's got some nice inlays in it. And it was in unplayable condition when I got it. Action was probably, I didn't measure it, but you could almost stick your finger underneath there, probably about a half inch. The neck angle was way off on it. Put a straight edge across and you were bottoming out here. It was that bad. So I got lucky. Actually, I knew that it was going to need a neck reset, but I got lucky when I saw this on the back. That's right, 4 bolt holes. And there's a cover that goes over it. I don't have the covers on right now, but let me show you these 4 bolt holes. Yeah, there's 3-inch screws in there. And the ones I took out were Phillips heads. The ones I replaced them with are slotted heads. I just like the slot. Seems to be working better. Actually, one of the Phillips I had to use a slot to get out of because it was jammed in there. The heads were stripped out. But it's a really tight fit. You got to really crank down on those screws to get this thing tight. I put in a maple shim that was thicker in the back here to narrower, and it altered the angle to an acceptable level, and it's actually quite good now. Straight edge will put you right at the top of the bridge. When I got it, the bridge was raised up, and there was a bulge here, and the bridge was kind of lifting. So the bridge, I took that off. Amazingly, it came off quite easy. Very little tear out. I was able to glue it back on, remove, there's 2 little bolts here. These little inlays are cover bolts, screws. So we did that, and I also added some bridge plate reinforcement. Piece of wood, this thing, thickness, it's kind of like a triangle under here. And I replaced it with some really old reclaimed cedar from old growth cedar from a building. So it was probably 300-400-year-old wood or more. Those old growth trees some are really old. But anyway, I thought it had some good tonal character to it, so I used it. The braces, there was also a busted brace. It's got X bracing here, and the brace on this side was split as well as unglued, as well as every brace on the back of the guitar had loose spots in it. It's like a ladder bracing, 1, 2, 3, 4 braces. Also, the back here was loose, and you could actually just put your finger in there almost. It was so loose. And, glued it back. There was a tuner that was messed up. It would not tune, which I fixed. And there was no bridge, no truss rod cover. So I made that and put it on, which I'm pretty happy with. It's got some cosmetic issues that I haven't addressed, but kind of gives it character. It looks like somebody bashed inside of it over here a little bit, but it doesn't affect the sound of it any, and I may or may not do anything about it. But doesn't play too bad. It's got a lot of punch and power. And it's very loud. I played this compared to my Taylor. My Taylor just sounds like a wimp. The original saddle that was in here, this is a really wide slot, and it was a piece of metal. It was a metal with a groove in it for the saddle, and then it had 2 adjuster screws, kind of like on an electric guitar, thumb screws that you could adjust. And I really didn't like that. I wanted the bone against the wood of the guitar, giving it the best contact you can get. So I had a big thick piece of bone that I put in here, and it wasn't quite thick enough, and but I wanted to see what it was going to do, so cut a thin piece, I think it was 90 thousandths of maple, and put it beside it. So you can't really probably tell in this, but there's actually two sandwiched in there. Majority of it is the bone, and then there's the maple. It's kind of a work in progress. I just wanted to see if this idea would even work and sound good, and I like it. So I may clean that up a little bit, and it made the intonation on it way better. So in fact, it's spot on in half the strings at least, just right on the money. So the action on it, it's somewhat evolving, I think, as the wood settles and the shim and the screws and everything, because at one point I kept tightening the screws after I had it playing good, and it actually bottomed the strings out because I had them so tight. I just backed them off just a little bit on here, so it relieved some of the neck angle. But it's not too bad. The gap there is pretty much just the shim that you're seeing. That white piece is the shim. And yeah, so we're liking this old 70s power horse. I'm going to call it the Pandemic Fire guitar, because we're obviously in the pandemic right now, and we've had fires in Bonnie Lake, Sumner. So this is the Pandemic Fire guitar. Thanks for watching.